Listen, this might sound crazy at first. The United States military can take a completely normal person, no special skills, and in just 2 years, they turn them into someone who can speak a whole new language, handle intense real-life situations, understand complex systems, and make decisions that literally decide life or death. Now think about that for a second. That's the same amount of time most students spend in college, cramming information they'll probably forget right after exams. So the real question is, why does one system create real skills, while the other creates stress and forgetfulness? And no, this wasn't random. After the Vietnam War, the military realized something. Their way of training people wasn't good enough. So instead of ignoring it, they completely rebuilt how humans learn from the ground up. What they created over time became one of the most tested learning systems ever. And here's the part no one tells you. It has almost nothing to do with sitting quietly, highlighting lines, and hoping it sticks. Let's start with one number that flips the whole story. The Navy SEALs increased their training pass rate by over 1/3. And no, they didn't make things easier. They didn't lower the standards. They just changed how people learn and think under pressure. Same difficulty, better results. Why? Because instead of just pushing harder, they started teaching people how to actually study, how to control their thoughts, and how to stay calm when everything gets intense. This whole system was designed by Eric Potterat, and it didn't just stay in the military. Now it's used by students preparing for exams, fighter pilots, and even teams inside big companies. So yeah, this isn't just military stuff, it's a performance system, and it all comes down to 4 core skills. The military calls them the Big Four: goal setting, mental rehearsal, self-talk, and arousal control. Master these and you don't just study better, you perform better when it actually counts. Let's start with number 1, goal setting. When most people hear goal setting, they think of big plans like, where do I want to be in 5 years? But that's not what actually works. The system they use is called segmenting, and it's way simpler than it sounds. Instead of thinking about the whole chapter, the whole subject, or the whole week, you focus on just one tiny piece. Like, what do I need to finish before my next meal? That's it. No overwhelm, no overthinking, just one small target. And here's the crazy part. Your brain actually works better this way. The part of your brain responsible for focus and decision making, the prefrontal cortex, becomes more active. So basically, when your goal is small and clear, your brain stays focused instead of panicking. That's why big goals feel stressful, and small goals feel doable. So instead of saying, I need to study everything today, try this. I'll just finish these 2 pages. Because once you start small, your brain stops fighting you and starts helping you. The second skill is called mental rehearsal. The Navy SEALs call it a dirt dive, but let's make this real for you. Imagine you have a big exam tomorrow. Most people just open their book and start reading. But here's what actually works better. Before you even sit in that exam hall, you mentally walk through the whole situation. You imagine sitting at your desk, you picture opening the paper, you see yourself reading questions calmly, even the hard ones. You stay focused, not panicking. You're basically practicing the moment before it happens. And here's the crazy part. Your brain doesn't fully separate imagination from reality. So when you rehearse something in your mind, your brain treats the real situation like it's the second time, not the first, which means less stress, more confidence, and better performance. That's why athletes, students, and even professionals use this. They don't wait for the real moment to figure things out. They've already been there, in their head. So when it actually happens, they don't freeze, they execute. The third skill is self-talk. And honestly, most people ignore this one until they realize how much it's messing them up. This whole idea comes from Albert Ellis, the same guy who helped create cognitive behavioral therapy. He broke it down into something super simple. A, adversity, what actually happened. B, belief, what you told yourself about it. C, consequence, how you felt and what you did next. Let's make it real. You fail a test. That's A. Now your brain says, I'm just dumb. I can't do this. That's B. And what happens next? You lose motivation, you avoid studying, you feel stuck. That's C. But here's the truth that most people miss. It's not the situation that messes you up. It's what you tell yourself about it. That's why in Special Forces training, they actually train people to become aware of their own thoughts. Because that inner voice, it's not neutral. It's either pushing you forward or holding you back. There's no middle ground. So if your self-talk sounds like, I'm bad at this is too hard, then yeah, you're literally working against yourself. But if you flip it to, this is tough, but I'll figure it out. Now your brain stays in the game. Same situation, completely different outcome. The fourth skill is arousal control. Sounds complicated, but it's not. It's basically box breathing. Inhale for 6 seconds, hold for 2 seconds, and exhale for 6 seconds. Do this a few times and your body will start to calm down. Your heart rate drops. Your brain gets more oxygen. And that stress feeling, it fades. Because here's the truth. When you're stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, Your brain is in survival mode, not learning mode. Even the United States Army says it clearly. If your mind is busy with emotions, you can't focus on what you're trying to learn. So this skill exists for one reason: calm your mind, so you can actually think. No calm equals no learning. Simple as that. The mental skills are only half the game. The real upgrade is something called an after-action review. The United States Army created this to solve one problem. People were going through experiences, but not actually learning from them. So instead of just moving on, they do this. What was the plan? What actually happened? What went wrong? What will I do differently next time? Simple. But here's the difference. It's not someone else judging you. You figure it out yourself. Even places like Wharton School say this is one of the best learning methods ever. Because when you analyze your own mistakes, you remember more. You improve faster. So instead of just studying and forgetting, take 2 minutes after every session and ask, what just happened? And how do I do it better next time? There's also something called a before-action review. Think of it like planning, but smarter. Before starting anything like study session, exam, project, you ask yourself 4 quick questions. What's the goal? How will I know I did it right? What could go wrong? What did I learn last time? That's it. Now you're not going in blind, you're going in prepared. This is exactly what Special Forces teams do. They don't just act, they think first. And it's not just military. Companies like J.M. Huber Corporation and Jump Associates use this before important work. Why? Because when you think before you act, you make fewer mistakes. You perform better. None of this was hidden. It was actually taught openly. Places like the United States Military Academy have been training soldiers in performance psychology for years. Not just physical training, how to focus, how to learn faster, even how to perform under pressure, and it gets intense. In Special Forces training, there's a full phase just for learning languages. 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, real-life simulations. You're not just memorizing. You're forced to use the language in real situations. And for harder languages, this can go on for months. So yeah, this system wasn't kept secret. It was just never taught to you. All of this might look like different techniques, but it's actually one system. A loop. Created by David Kolb. Here's how it really works. First, you do something. Then you look back and analyze it. Then you figure out what to improve. And finally, you try again with that improvement. And the cycle repeats. Now here's where it gets interesting. The military didn't just understand this. They built their entire training around it. After action review, analyzing what happened. Before action review, planning the next move. Simulations, testing in real situations. The big 4, keeping your mind stable through it all. So it's not random effort anymore. So this isn't about studying harder. It's about studying the right way. Because if people can learn languages, perform under pressure, and make high-stakes decisions using this system, then what's stopping you? The information is already out there. The tools are already proven. The only question left is, are you going to keep doing what doesn't work, or finally switch to what does?